Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great semester. I just want to share with you what books my school is using for second semester of first year, which is what I'm going to be starting, or actually just started recently. And these books that I'm showing are just the ones that I have an actual physical copy of. There are other textbooks we're using and like printed articles that are going to be shared with us through Blackboard, but these are the books that I actually have in textbook form. So the first one is for our assessments class, and it is Pedretti's. It is just Occupational Therapy Practice Skills for Dysfunction. This is actually an older edition, but just to save money, I got the older edition, and I've been sort of, when we get an assignment, looking in other students' books who have the current edition and just finding the pages that we should be doing for our assignment in this edition, which are definitely off. So that's something to be aware of. I don't know if you, for some reason, also have this book in your program. The pages in the older edition are actually quite a bit different than in the new version. So another book we're using for assessments is this book right here. This is Muscle Testing and Function with Posture and Pain. We, thus far, actually haven't opened it up yet, but it's still so early on in the semester that that's, I think, okay. And this book looks quite old, I think, like design-wise. It looks like it was designed a long time ago. I don't know. But we're using this book and then the Pedretti's book for our assessments class. And that's the class where we're learning mostly a lot of motor assessments that we can use to, you know, figure out where our patient, or our client is when we meet them. As far as anatomy goes, I don't know if I showed you this in our how to prepare for anatomy book, but this is the anatomy textbook that we're going to be using, and I really like this anatomy book personally. I know not everybody likes it, and it is a paperback, which I think some people really have taken issue with, but personally I really like this textbook. It's just essential clinical anatomy, and so far it's been really helpful. There's a lot of pictures in it. Let me see if I can show you, just like, if you see, there's just pictures on almost all the pages, and it's just been, I think, a lot of tables and pictures, and it's just really helpful. So we're using, this is our textbook, the main textbook that we're using for anatomy, and then we're also this is the atlas that we're using, and this atlas, the one that we get is for like our own use at home. As far as in the actual cadaver lab, they have a copy in there for us, so we don't have to personally take our copy of the book into the anatomy lab. And I just decided to rent this book as opposed to buying it. I bought all the rest of my books, but since it's one semester and I wasn't really sure how much I would use it after this semester, I went ahead and just rented it, which is what quite a few people in my class did. And so this is just the Atlas of Human Anatomy, and this is a 6th edition. I don't know how different 5th and 6th edition are, but this is what we're using as sort of our atlas. I also have books for my lab because I do have a really sort of, I guess, a more difficult lab, and my lab is about sort of premature infants and sort of infants with illnesses soon after birth, and so it's a lot about neonatal intensive care unit, and so the books are specifically about that. And this book we had to read over break, which was a really a lot of reading over break, which I know I've said in my anatomy video that I had a lot to prepare for and I was worried about finishing it, and I realized I didn't mention I had to read this book, so it probably seemed like I didn't really have that much to prepare for. But I also had to read this whole book, or I was supposed to, and I actually did, but it's like 600 pages, and it's just, if you, on a non-occupational therapy note, if you end up having a premature infant, this is actually a really great book. It just answered a lot of questions and did a really great overview of sort of what the whole experience from the pregnancy to all the way and after you've taken your baby home and they've been discharged, sort of handling that situation. And I just thought it did a really nice job of discussing a lot of the issues and just giving me a better understanding of what are some common issues and sort of what the experience might be like for parents and all that stuff. So I appreciated having to read this, even though it was quite a bit long. So this is just preemies. And then also for the neonatal intensive care lab, we have this book, which is by, I think, Bigsby and Vergara, and this is just developmental and therapeutic interventions in the NICU. And this is, sorry, this is my bookmark. This is a lot more, I would say, it has a lot of really great material, but it's very dense. And so it feels like every paragraph you read has important information. So it's not nearly as fun of a read, but it is very, very informative. So this is sort of as a lab. Prior to the semester, we had to read the pre-means book over break. And then now that we've started, in the first couple of weeks, all of my lab mates and I are having to read specific chapters and then sort of make a presentation about them, and we'll be presenting to our classmates about the content in the chapters. And so the content that we're presenting on and that we're learning is from this book. And so those are the textbooks that we have for this semester. There are, of course, online ones, and I'll try and put all the books we're using down below, but there are quite a few, especially for like neuroscience, so I'm not sure if you want to know all of them, but I'll probably put them down there anyways in case you're interested. So I hope you're having a great week. Bye.